The massive space station hung in the black void like a metal moon. Nexus Prime stretched 20 kilometers across, its silver hull gleaming under the light of 3 distant suns. Inside the station's central chamber, 12 different alien species sat around a circular table that could have held a small army. Ambassador Jack Miller walked through the tall doors, his black diplomatic suit crisp and clean. Behind him came Captain Lisa Barnes, her Blue Earth Defense Force uniform marked with the insignia of a rising world. The 2 humans looked small compared to the aliens that watched them enter. The chamber itself made Jack feel tiny. The ceiling rose 100 meters above his head, supported by pillars carved from single pieces of crystal. Each alien delegate sat behind a desk made from their home world's most precious materials. The message was clear. These beings controlled the galaxy. Jack had been Earth's top diplomat for 15 years. He had negotiated peace treaties and trade, deals across dozens of countries. But nothing had prepared him for this moment. Today, the Galactic Council would decide humanity's fate. Chancellor Vexthul rose from his seat at the head of the table. The Zephyrian stood 3 meters tall, his insect-like body covered in dark green armor plates. 4 arms moved as he spoke, each gesture precise and commanding. His compound eyes reflected the chamber's lights like black diamonds. "The session begins," Vexthul announced, his voice echoing through hidden speakers that translated his clicks and buzzes into human words. "We gather to discuss the petition of the species called humanity for membership in our council." Jack felt his heart beat faster. 3 years of waiting had led to this moment. Earth had discovered faster than light travel only 5 years ago. Within months, they had encountered Zephyrian scouts at the edge of their solar system. The first contact had gone well enough. No shots fired, no invasions. Just an invitation to apply for membership in the galactic community. "The Council has studied humanity's application with great care," Vexthul continued. "We have reviewed your technological capabilities, your social structures, your military strength, and your cultural development. A decision has been reached." The other aliens said nothing. The Aquarian delegate, fluid singer Nalthus, shifted her crystalline body, sending patterns of blue light across her surface. General Karmoth of the Ursine Collective leaned back in his chair, his massive bear-like form making the furniture creak. The Saurian representative flicked his forked tongue, tasting the air for signs of human fear. Lisa stood straight beside Jack, her hand resting near her sidearm. She had fought in 3 wars on Earth before joining the space program. The aliens did not intimidate her, but she could feel the tension in the room like electricity before a storm. "Humanity shows promise," Vexthul said, walking around the table with slow, measured steps. "Your species learns quickly. You adapt to new situations. You have survived wars and disasters that would have destroyed weaker races. These are admirable qualities." Jack waited for the word that would change everything. But there was always a but in negotiations like this. "However," Vexthul continued, "your species also shows dangerous tendencies. You are violent. You resist authority. You value individual freedom over collective stability. These traits cannot be allowed to spread unchecked through civilized space." The Aquarian delegate flashed yellow patterns across her body. Warning colors. Jack had studied the alien languages for months, learning to read their nonverbal communications. Nalthus was telling him to be careful. "Therefore," Vexthul announced, "the Council offers humanity membership under the following conditions." Jack pulled out his datapad, ready to record the terms. This was the moment that would define Earth's future among the stars. First, humanity must reduce its military fleet by 70%. The remaining ships will be refitted with Council-approved technology and operated under Council oversight. Jack's fingers stopped moving on his datapad. 70%. That would leave Earth nearly defenseless. Second, all human genetic research must be supervised by the Hegemony Medical Board. No modifications to your species will be permitted without Council approval. Lisa shifted beside him. As a soldier, she understood what that meant. No improvements to human strength, speed, or intelligence. No adaptation to alien worlds. No evolution beyond what the Council allowed. Third, 30% of humanity's population must relocate to designated colony worlds within Council space. These colonies will serve as proof of your commitment to galactic civilization. Jack felt cold. Forced relocation. The aliens wanted to break up human society, scatter them across the galaxy where they could be watched and controlled. Fourth, permanent monitoring stations will be established in your home system. All human activities in space will be observed and regulated by Council forces. The final term hit Jack like a physical blow. Earth would become a prison. Humanity would exist only at the pleasure of their alien masters. These terms are generous, Vexthul said, returning to his seat. No species has ever been offered such favorable conditions for membership. You have 1 hour to consider our offer. The alien delegates began talking among themselves in their various languages. Clicks, growls, harmonic tones, and color changes filled the chamber. They seemed confident. Why would anyone refuse membership in the galaxy's most powerful organization? Jack activated his quantum communicator, the device linking him instantly to Earth despite the vast distance. President Kate Johnson's face appeared on the small screen, her expression serious. Jack, we're reading your transmission. The whole Security Council is here. Madam President, I need to discuss the Council's terms with you privately. Understood. We'll clear the room except for essential personnel. While he waited, Jack looked around the chamber again. The aliens were relaxed, now some even appearing amused. They had made this offer before to other species. They knew how it always ended. Admiral Paul Davis appeared on the screen, his weathered face grim. What are they asking for, Jack? Jack read the terms aloud, watching the faces of Earth's leaders grow darker with each condition. When he finished, silence filled the communication channel. Finally, Admiral Davis spoke. These aren't membership terms, this is surrender. President Johnson nodded. Jack, we need time to discuss this. Can you buy us more time? I'll try, Madam President. The hour stretched to 2 hours as Earth's leaders debated humanity's future. The alien delegates grew restless, unused to such delays. In their experience, newly discovered species either accepted Council membership gratefully or faced extinction. There was no third option. Jack watched the aliens whisper and gesture among themselves. They assumed humanity was simply struggling with the difficult decision of submission. They had no idea that Earth was considering something no species had ever done before, something that would change the galaxy forever. The massive chamber doors opened with a deep rumble. Ambassador Jack Miller walked back into the room, his shoulders straight and his face calm. Captain Lisa Barnes followed one step behind, carrying a sealed diplomatic pouch in her left hand. Her right hand stayed near her weapon. The alien delegates turned to watch them. Chancellor Vexthul's compound eyes focused on Jack's face, searching for signs of defeat. The other aliens leaned forward in their seats. They expected to see broken humans ready to beg for mercy. Jack stopped at the center of the chamber. The circular table surrounded him on all sides, making him feel like prey in a trap. 12 different species watched him with eyes, sensors, and organs he could not name. The silence stretched until it became painful. The United Earth government has considered your offer, Jack said, his voice carrying clearly through the vast space. We have discussed your terms with our leaders, our military commanders, and our people. Vexthul clicked his mandibles together. The sound meant satisfaction in Zephyrian body language. The Chancellor believed he was about to witness another species submit to Council rule. President Johnson asked me to deliver our response personally, Jack continued. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small device. The quantum communicator would record his words and send them instantly across the galaxy to Earth. The United Earth government thanks the Galactic Council for their consideration of our membership application, Jack said, his words formal and precise. We recognize the time and effort you have invested in reviewing our qualifications. The Aquarian delegate flashed blue patterns across her crystalline body. Anticipation. Even Nalthus expected humanity to accept the Council's generous offer. However, Jack said, and the single word seemed to echo through the chamber like a gunshot. We must respectfully decline membership under the proposed terms. The reaction was immediate and explosive. General Karmath roared, a sound that shook the metal walls. The Saurian delegate hissed, his forked tongue flicking rapidly. Vexthal's four arms spread wide in shock, his compound eyes reflecting the chamber lights like broken mirrors. "Impossible," the Chancellor said, his voice translator struggling with the rapid clicks and buzzes. "No species refuses council membership. No species can survive alone in the galaxy." The hegemony delegate stood up, his massive frame casting a shadow across the table. Commander Zultar was a warrior from a race that had conquered 12-star systems before joining the council. His scarred face showed no emotion, but his deep voice carried threat. "You do not understand the consequences of your choice," Zultar said. "Rejection means isolation. No trade agreements, no technological exchange, no protection from the dangers that lurk in dark space." Jack nodded politely. "We understand the consequences completely. Nevertheless, our answer remains no." The chamber erupted in chaos. Alien languages filled the air with angry sounds. The melodic sphere's delegate sang a harsh note that made human teeth ache. The crystalline collective representative changed colors rapidly, flashing through the spectrum from red to purple. Only fluid singer Nalthis remained calm, her body showing soft green patterns. Curiosity mixed with something that might have been respect. "Perhaps you need time to reconsider," General Karmoth growled, his massive paws gripping the edge of the table. "We could arrange for your home system to experience some difficulties while you think about our generous offer." The threat hung in the air like poison gas. Lisa Barnes stepped forward, her hand moving to her sidearm. The movement was small, but every alien in the room noticed it. They had studied human military doctrine. They knew what that gesture meant. "Are you threatening us?" Lisa asked, her voice cold as vacuum. Karmoth showed his teeth, each one as long as a human finger. "I am explaining reality to young species that do not understand their place in the universe." Jack raised his hand to calm Lisa, then addressed the council one final time. His voice carried across the chamber without amplification, reaching every corner of the vast space. "We came to this council seeking equals, not masters. We hope to find friends, not owners. We wanted to join a community of free peoples working together for mutual benefit." He paused, looking around the table at each alien delegate in turn. "What you offer is not membership. It is slavery with better decorations. You ask us to surrender our ships, our freedom, our children, and our future. In exchange, you promise us survival under your rule." Vexthal clicked his mandibles angrily. "You are fools. Without the Council's protection, your species will face extinction within a generation. The galaxy is full of dangers you cannot imagine." "Then we will face those dangers as free beings," Jack replied. "We would rather die standing than live kneeling." The alien delegates exchanged glances. This was unprecedented. In 3,000 years of galactic history, no species had ever refused council membership. The very idea seemed impossible to them. "You will crawl back to us within a year," Commander Zultar said, his voice filled with certainty. "When your people are starving and your worlds are under attack, you will beg us to reconsider. But the terms will be much harsher then." Jack smiled, the expression surprising the aliens who had studied human facial expressions but never seen one used in this context. "We appreciate your concern for our welfare," he said. "But humanity has survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters that would have destroyed weaker species. We have colonized hostile worlds and built civilizations from nothing. We will survive this too." He activated his quantum communicator, the device linking him to the Earth ship waiting in orbit above the station. "Transport control, this is Ambassador Miller. 2 to beam up." The aliens watched in fascination as the humans began to dissolve into streams of light. The transport technology was impressive, though primitive compared to council standards. "This is not over," Vexthal called out as the humans faded from view. "You cannot hide from the galaxy forever." Jack's voice came through the communicator as his form became transparent. "We are not hiding, Chancellor. We are simply choosing our own path." The transport beam completed its work, leaving the council chamber empty except for alien delegates. They sat in stunned silence, trying to process what had just happened. Finally, Nalthis spoke. her crystalline body flashing thoughtful purple patterns. Perhaps we should have offered better terms. Better terms? Karmath roared. They should have been grateful for any terms at all. No species refuses the council, and yet, the Aquarian delegate said softly, they just did. The chamber fell silent again as the implications sank in. For the first time in 3 millennia, the Galactic Council had been rejected. The precedent was set. The galaxy would never be the same. 6 months had passed since humanity walked away from the Galactic Council. In the grand chamber of Nexus Prime, the alien delegates gathered for their regular session. They expected to receive Earth's surrender message any day now. The humans have learned their lesson by now, General Karmath said, his massive paws drumming on the table. Isolation is a harsh teacher. They must be desperate for food and resources. Chancellor Vex Thule nodded his insect head. Our scouts report no human activity beyond their home system. They hide like frightened animals. The Saurian delegate flicked his tongue, tasting the air for lies. Perhaps we should send them another invitation, with slightly better terms, of course. No, Commander Zoltar growled. They refused our generosity. Let them starve until they beg for mercy. None of the council members noticed the small ship that drifted silently through space near Jupiter, the Hegemony scout vessel. Silent Whisper moved like a ghost among the gas giant's moons, its sensors recording everything. Captain Zekthar of the Saurian Collective commanded the ship. His yellow eyes widened as he studied the readings on his screen. What he saw made no sense. Impossible, he whispered, his forked tongue flicking rapidly. Computer, verify these readings. The ship's artificial intelligence responded in flat, mechanical tones. Readings verified, Captain. No errors. Detected. Zekthar stared at the data again. According to his sensors, humanity had built 17 massive construction facilities in orbit around Mars. Each structure was the size of a small moon, with energy signatures that matched the Council's most advanced shipyards. How did they build so much so fast, he asked himself. His species had taken centuries to develop such technology. Humans had done it in months. The scout ship moved closer to Jupiter, its stealth systems hiding it from human detection. What Zekthar found there made his blood run cold. Every major moon of Jupiter had been converted into mining and manufacturing complexes. Massive machines carved metal from Europa's ice-covered surface. Factories on Ganymede worked day and night, producing materials at impossible speeds. Io's volcanic activity had been harnessed to power fusion reactors the size of cities. This cannot be, Zekthar said, his voice shaking. No species develops this fast without Council technology. On Earth, Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood in the control room of Project Prometheus. The human scientist had worked for 2 years straight, sleeping only when exhaustion forced her to stop. Around her, the most brilliant minds on Earth had gathered to solve problems that alien scientists claimed were impossible. Final systems check complete, announced Commander Ryan Scott, the test pilot chosen to fly humanity's first next-generation starship. All systems show green. Elena nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the lights of the control panels. The ship that hung in Earth's orbit was unlike anything ever built. Where alien vessels followed ancient designs approved by the Council, human engineers had started from scratch. The Prometheus was not just a ship. It was a living system that could think, adapt, and learn. At its heart was an artificial intelligence that the Council's greatest minds said could never exist. Adam, are you ready? Elena asked, speaking to the ship's AI through her neural link. Ready, Dr. Rodriguez, Adam replied, his voice appearing directly in her mind. All systems optimal. Crew integration at maximum efficiency. The quantum neural links were humanity's greatest breakthrough. Instead of treating artificial intelligence as a tool, humans had made it a partner. The ship and crew worked together as one unit, faster than any alien technology could match. Begin launch sequence, Elena ordered. In space, the Prometheus came alive. Its engines produced no visible flame, no energy signature that alien sensors could detect. The ship simply moved, slipping through space like a knife through water. Captain, Zekthar watched in amazement as the human vessel appeared on his sensors, then vanished again. His equipment could not track something that advanced. "Impossible technology," he whispered. "The Council will never believe this." But the evidence was overwhelming. Humanity had not just survived their isolation, they had used it to advance, beyond anything the galaxy had seen. On the colony world of New Angeles, human settlers worked under radiation that would kill most Council species within hours. The high-energy environment that made the planet uninhabitable for aliens was perfect for human solar collectors. The colony thrived where others would have died. New Tokyo prospered in a system where dangerous stellar flares made space travel deadly. Human ships moved through the radiation storms like they were gentle breezes. Their technology adapted to conditions that would destroy alien vessels. "How are they doing this?" Captain Zekthar asked his computer. "How are humans succeeding where others failed?" The AI processed the question for several seconds before responding. "Analysis suggests humans approach problems differently than Council species. They do not follow established patterns, they create new solutions." Zekthar understood. The Council had spent 3,000 years perfecting existing technology. Humans had spent 6 months inventing entirely new approaches to old problems. The scout ship completed its mission and prepared to return to Council space. Zekthar knew his report would shock the alien delegates. They expected to find humanity, broken and desperate. Instead, they would learn that Earth had become more powerful than any single Council member. In the depths of space, far from both Earth and Council territory, something else watched and waited. The Void Swarm had noticed the sudden burst of activity in human space. The machine intelligence analyzed the new energy signatures with interest. Humanity had attracted attention from more than just the Galactic Council. Ancient forces that had slept for millennia were beginning to stir. The galaxy was about to face its greatest threat in recorded history. But the Council delegates knew nothing of this coming danger. They sat in their grand chamber, confident in their power and certain that humanity would soon come crawling back. They were wrong about everything. Captain Zekthar's ship crossed into Council space, carrying news that would change everything. The humans had not just survived. They had evolved beyond recognition in the span of a few months. The rejected species had become something new, something powerful, something that might be the galaxy's only hope against the darkness that was coming. Elena Rodriguez stood at the window of her laboratory, watching human ships move through space with impossible grace. She did not know about the Void Swarm yet, but she sensed that humanity's real test was still coming. They had proven they could survive isolation. Soon they would discover if they could survive what was hunting them. The emergency alarm echoed through the halls of Nexus Prime. Chancellor Vexthol ran through the corridors, his forearms pumping as he moved faster than most beings had ever seen a Zephyrian travel. Behind him, other council members hurried toward the crisis chamber. The news had reached them 3 hours ago. The Void Swarm had emerged from dark space. Supreme Admiral Corinth stood at the center of the war room, his massive Titan frame making the holographic display look small. The three-dimensional map showed the outer regions of Council space, where red markers indicated systems under attack. "Report," Vexthol demanded, his breathing heavy from the rapid journey. "3 worlds have fallen," Corinth said, his deep voice filled with grim certainty. "Kepler Prime, New Harmony, and the Zeta mining colony. Total population loss exceeds 40 million beings." The chamber fell silent, 40 million dead in less than a week. The Void Swarm moved faster than any enemy the Council had ever faced. "General," Karmoth slammed his massive paw on the table. "How is this possible? Our defense fleets are the strongest in the galaxy." "We're the strongest," Admiral Corinth corrected. "The Swarm's technology adapts to our weapons within hours. What destroys one ship fails against the next." Fluid Singer Nalthis flashed worried yellow patterns across her crystalline body. "What are we dealing with exactly?" The holographic display changed, showing recorded footage from the battle at Kepler Prime. The Void Swarm ships looked like living metal, changing shape as they moved through space. They consumed everything in their path. breaking down matter at the molecular level and using it to build more ships. Machine intelligence, Corinth explained. They learn from every encounter. Our tactics work once, then never again. Commander, Zultar studied the battle recordings with professional interest. How many ships in their fleet? We estimate over 10,000 vessels, with more being constructed from the material of destroyed worlds. The number hit the council members like a physical blow. The entire council fleet numbered fewer than 8,000 ships, spread across hundreds of star systems. Where did they come from? Vexthul asked. Unknown. They appeared at the edge of our territory without warning. No energy signature. No advanced scouts. Nothing. The Saurian delegate, Captain Zekthar, had arrived just hours earlier with his report about human technological advancement. Now he wondered if the timing was coincidence. Chancellor, Zekthar said, his forked tongue flicking nervously. I must share my findings about the human situation. Not now, Vexthul snapped. We have real problems to deal with. This is a real problem, Zekthar insisted. The humans have built a military force that rivals our entire fleet. The council members turned to stare at him. General Karmoth growled low in his throat. Impossible. They have been isolated for only 1 year. I have sensor readings that prove otherwise. Zekthar activated his data recorder, filling the chamber with images of human construction projects. The alien delegates watched in stunned silence as the evidence mounted. Massive shipyards, advanced manufacturing facilities, technology that surpassed council standards. How did they advance so quickly? Nalthis asked, her body flashing confused purple patterns. They think differently than we do, Zekthar explained. They do not follow established patterns. They create new solutions to old problems. Admiral Corinth studied the human ship designs with growing interest. These vessels use modular construction, redundant systems, integration between artificial intelligence and crew, all of which we declared impossible, Commander Zultar said quietly. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had accomplished in months what the Council believed would take centuries. The moment was interrupted by another alarm. A new red marker appeared on the tactical display. The melodic sphere's homeworld is under attack, a technician announced. The swarm has reached the inner colonies. Vexithol felt his compound eyes darken with despair. The artistic melodic spheres were among the Council's most beloved members. Their harmonic songs had inspired galactic culture for 2,000 years. Send the Fifth Fleet, he ordered. The Fifth Fleet was destroyed at New Harmony, Corinth replied. We have no ships close enough to reach them in time. The tactical display showed the swarm's approach to the melodic spheres system. Hundreds of machine ships moved in perfect formation, their adaptive hulls already incorporating defenses against Council weapons. Estimated time until total system collapse? Vexithul asked. 18 hours, the technician replied. In that moment, Chancellor Vexthul realized the truth that would haunt him forever. The Galactic Council, master of 3,000 years of civilization, was helpless against an enemy they could not understand. Long-range sensors detected an anomaly at the edge of the melodic spheres system. 57 energy signatures moving at impossible speeds toward the battle zone. What are those contacts? Corinth demanded. The sensor technician worked frantically at his console. Unknown ship types. Energy signatures unlike anything in our database. The mysterious fleet dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. The lead vessel was massive, dwarfing even the largest Council battleships. Its hull bore markings that made every alien in the war room freeze with recognition. Human symbols. Earth Defense Force insignia. Impossible, General Karmoth whispered. How did they get here so fast? The human fleet moved with precision that astounded the watching aliens. Each ship responded to threats with lightning speed, coordinated by artificial intelligence that processed information faster than organic minds could follow. The flagship opened communications on all frequencies. A human female's voice filled the chamber, calm and professional despite the chaos of battle. Melodic Sphere Colonies, this is Admiral Susan Clark of the Earth Defense Force. Your system is secure. We are transmitting evacuation coordinates for wounded civilians. The battle lasted 4 hours. Council observers watched in amazement as human ships moved through space like dancers, their movements too fast and coordinated for organic crews. The swarm's adaptive technology, which had defeated every Council tactic, could not keep pace with human innovation. When the last machine ship fell silent, the tactical display showed a field of debris where the unstoppable void swarm had been, completely destroyed. Admiral Clark's voice came through the communicators again. Council observers, this is Admiral Clark. The immediate threat has been neutralized. We are beginning search and rescue operations. Chancellor Vexthul stared at the display in shock. Humanity had accomplished in hours what the Council could not achieve with their entire fleet. The species they had rejected had just saved a world that voted to exclude them. Get me a communication channel to Earth, Vexthul said quietly. Chancellor? His aide asked. We need to talk. News of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. In the floating cities of the melodic spheres, survivors sang beautiful songs about the warriors from the yellow sun who had saved their world. The harmonies carried through space on quantum frequencies, reaching every corner of Council territory. Dr. Marcus Webb stood at the observation deck of Olympus Station, humanity's new diplomatic hub orbiting Earth's moon. Unlike the imposing Nexus Prime with its towering walls and hierarchical seating, Olympus emphasized equality. Round tables filled conference rooms where any species could sit as equals. Universal translators made communication possible without forcing visitors to learn Council languages. Through the transparent aluminum windows, Marcus watched human ships moving through space with impossible grace. The vessels no longer tried to hide their capabilities. Admiral Susan Clark's fleet had shown the galaxy what humanity could accomplish. There was no point in pretending to be weak anymore. His assistant entered the observation deck carrying a datapad filled with messages. Dr. Webb, we have 17 new diplomatic requests from Council member species. They all want to establish private communication channels. Marcus nodded. He had expected this. The Crystalline Collective, master engineers who had built most of the Council's infrastructure, wanted to study human modular ship designs. The nomadic wanderers, traders who carried goods between star systems, sought permission to establish trade routes with human colonies. What about the Council leadership? Marcus asked. Chancellor Vexthul has requested formal talks. He claims the Council wants to discuss mutual cooperation against the Void Swarm threat. Marcus smiled. Mutual cooperation. 6 months ago, the Council had demanded humanity's surrender. Now they spoke of partnership. Schedule the meeting for tomorrow. Conference Room 7, roundtable setup. Yes, sir. Should we prepare security protocols? No weapons in the conference room, but have Admiral Clark's ships ready nearby, just in case. The next morning, Chancellor Vexthul arrived. At Olympus Station with a small delegation, the Zephyrian leader looked uncomfortable as he entered the human facility. Everything was wrong by Council standards. No guards flanked the doorways. No intimidating architecture demonstrated superior power. Even the air smelled different, carrying scents of growing plants from the station's gardens. Dr. Webb met them in the main conference room, seated at a circular table with no head position. The message was clear. No one here was more important than anyone else. Chancellor Vexthul, Marcus said, standing to greet his guests. Welcome to Olympus Station. Please sit wherever you feel comfortable. Vexthul's compound eyes studied the room carefully. His cultural training demanded that he take the most prominent position, but every seat looked identical. Finally, he chose a chair opposite Marcus, trying to maintain some semblance of formality. Dr. Webb, Vexthul began, his translator converting clicks and buzzes into human words. Recent events have shown that our two civilizations face common threats. The Void Swarm endangers all intelligent life in the galaxy. Indeed, Marcus replied. Humanity grieves for the losses suffered by Council worlds. 40 million beings dead is a tragedy beyond measure. The Zephyrian Chancellor shifted uncomfortably. He had not expected sympathy from the species his Council had tried to subjugate. Perhaps it is time to reconsider our previous discussions, Vexthul suggested. The Council might be willing to offer humanity better membership terms. Marcus leaned back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. What kind of terms? Reduced military restrictions, greater autonomy for human colonies, limited genetic research permissions, and in exchange, humanity would share their advanced technology with the Council, specifically their artificial intelligence integration and adaptive ship designs. Marcus smiled, but the expression did not reach his eyes. Chancellor, I appreciate your offer, but humanity is no longer interested in Council membership. Vexthul's mandibles clicked rapidly. But you need galactic civilization. No species can survive alone. We are not alone, Marcus said quietly. 7 species have already joined the Stellar Accord, our new alliance based on equality and mutual defense. The Chancellor's compound eyes widened. Impossible. Council species cannot leave without permission. They can if they choose freedom over security, Marcus replied. The Aquarian Trade Consortium was the first to join us, others followed. As if summoned by his words, alarms began ringing throughout Olympus Station. Marcus activated his communicator, connecting to the station's command center. What is the situation? He asked. Admiral Clark's voice came through the speaker, tense, with anger. The hegemony has blockaded Aquarian space. They are demanding the Aquarians return to Council authority or face military action. Marcus felt cold anger rise in his chest. The Council was using force to prevent species from choosing their own path. Chancellor, Marcus said, turning to face Vexthul, are you aware of this blockade? The Zephyrian leader's body language showed discomfort. The hegemony acts within their authority. Rebellious species must be brought back into line. Rebellious. Marcus stood up, his voice carrying the edge of steel that had made him Earth's top negotiator. The Aquarians chose dignity over submission. They followed humanity's example. They made a mistake, Vexthul said. The galaxy is dangerous. Only the Council can provide protection. Protection from whom? The only threat the Aquarians face comes from your own forces. The confrontation was interrupted by another communication from Admiral Clark. Marcus, the Aquarians are requesting immediate assistance. The hegemony fleet is preparing to bombard their colonies. Marcus looked directly into Vexthul's compound, eyes. Chancellor, I suggest you contact the hegemony and order them to withdraw. Immediately. I cannot do that, Vexthul replied. Council authority must be maintained. Then this meeting is over. Marcus walked to the communication panel and opened a channel to Earth Security Council. This is Dr. Webb. Implement Protocol 7. Full military response. Vexthul stood up, his forearms spreading wide in alarm. Dr. Webb, you cannot interfere with Council internal affairs. The Aquarians are no longer Council members, Marcus replied. They are our allies. An attack on them is an attack on humanity. Within minutes, the human fleet began mobilizing. Ships that had been hidden throughout. The solar system emerged from behind asteroids and planetary shadows. The true size of humanity's military force revealed itself for the first time. Chancellor Vexthul watched through the station's windows as more than 200 human vessels formed battle formations. Each ship was larger and more advanced than anything in the Council fleet. This is madness, he whispered. You will start a galactic war. No, Chancellor, Marcus said firmly. We will prevent one. The galaxy has lived under Council tyranny for 3,000 years. That ends today. The human fleet jumped to hyperspace, carrying Earth's message to the stars. Freedom was not negotiable. Dignity was not for sale. And humanity would protect those who chose to stand with them. The hegemony siege fleet surrounded the beautiful blue world of Tidal Haven, like a metal storm cloud. 300 warships hung in space above the Aquarian homeworld, their weapons trained on the crystalline cities below. Admiral Karthok commanded, the blockade from his flagship Domination, certain that the rebel species would surrender within hours. The Aquarian people had built their cities from living crystal that grew from the ocean floor toward the sky. The structures sang in harmony with the planet's tides, creating music that could be heard from orbit. Now those songs carried notes of fear and desperation. Aquarian government, Karthok broadcast on all frequencies, his harsh voice carrying through the crystal cities below. You have defied Council authority by joining the Human Alliance. Return to Council control immediately or face the consequences. The response came from Prime Singer Velandra, the Aquarian leader whose crystalline body pulsed with defiant red patterns. Admiral Karthok, we choose freedom over slavery. We will not surrender our dignity for your protection. Karthok's massive form shook with rage. As a hegemony commander, he had crushed 17 rebellions across the galaxy. No species had ever resisted Council authority for long. You have 1 hour to reconsider, he growled. After that, we will demonstrate what happens to those who defy the natural order. The hour passed in tense silence. Hegemony weapons powered up, preparing to turn the crystal cities into molten glass. Karthok opened his mouth to give the bombardment order when his sensor officer shouted an alarm. Admiral, ships dropping out of hyperspace at the system edge. The tactical display filled with new contacts. 43 human vessels emerged from the quantum foam in perfect formation, led by the massive flagship Constitution. The ship was larger than anything the hegemony had ever built, its hull gleaming with weapon ports that numbered in the thousands. Admiral Susan Clark commanded the human fleet from the Constitution's bridge. Her weathered face showed no emotion as she studied the enemy formation. Beside her, the ship's artificial intelligence Atom processed tactical data faster than any organic mind could follow. Admiral, Atom said through the neural link. Enemy, fleet composition analyzed. Tactical recommendations uploaded to all ships. Susan nodded. Human crews across the fleet received battle plans instantly, their minds linked to their ship's artificial intelligences in ways the Council had declared impossible. Open communications to the hegemony fleet, Susan ordered. Her image appeared on screens throughout the enemy formation. Karthok stared at the human commander, his yellow eyes reflecting disbelief. 43 ships against 300. The humans were either incredibly brave or completely insane. Hegemony forces, Susan said, her voice calm as steel. You are ordered to withdraw from Aquarian space immediately. This is your only warning. Karthok's laughter boomed across the communication channel. Foolish mammals, you are outnumbered 7-1. Surrender now and we may allow your species to survive as our servants. Susan's expression did not change. You have 30 seconds to begin your withdrawal. Or what? Karthok demanded. You will attack us with your pathetic few ships? No, Susan replied quietly. We will destroy you. The 30 seconds passed in silence. Then the human fleet moved. The Constitution's artificial intelligence coordinated an attack across the entire enemy formation simultaneously. Human weapons, enhanced by technology the Council deemed impossible, punched through hegemony shields like they were made of paper. Ships that had taken decades to build died in seconds, their hulls cracking under energy blasts that should not have existed. The human vessels moved through space like living things, dodging enemy fire with precision that astounded the hegemony crews. Each ship seemed to know where every shot would be fired before the weapons were even charged. The artificial intelligences shared information instantly, creating a battle network that operated faster than thought. Captain Mike Thompson commanded the hospital ship Mercy as it moved through the battle zone. While human warships engaged the enemy fleet, Thompson's medical team prepared to treat wounded hegemony survivors. The decision to offer aid to former enemies embodied humanity's greatest strength, the choice between vengeance and compassion. All ships, this is Admiral Clark. Susan broadcast on all frequencies. Hegemony vessels that surrender will be escorted safely from the system. Medical assistance is available for damaged ships. The offer stunned the alien crews. In 3,000 years of galactic warfare, no species had ever offered aid to defeated enemies during active combat. Karthok watched his proud fleet dissolve around him. Half his ships were dead or dying. The remainder fought desperately against an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move. His tactical officers shouted confused reports about impossible human maneuvers and weapons that violated known physics. Retreat, he finally roared. All ships, immediate withdrawal. The surviving hegemony vessels limped away from Tidal Haven, their pride shattered along with their hulls. Behind them, human medical ships moved to assist the wounded, treating former enemies with the same care they would show their own people. 5 years later, Ambassador Jack Miller stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, humanity's gift to the galaxy. The massive structure orbited the neutral world of New Geneva, serving as a truly free meeting place where any species could find sanctuary and trade. The old Galactic Council had dissolved within months of the Battle of Tidal Haven. 7 species immediately joined humanity's stellar accord, attracted by the promise of equality and mutual respect. The remaining council members found themselves isolated, their authority evaporated like morning mist. Captain Lisa Barnes, now Admiral Barnes, joined Jack at the transparent wall. Through the clear aluminum, they watched human and alien children playing together in the station's central park. Their laughter echoed through corridors that had once known only the harsh commands of council authority. "Any regrets about walking away from their offer?" Lisa asked. Jack smiled as he watched a young human girl teaching an Aquarian child how to throw a ball, while a melodic sphere hatchling sang accompaniment to their game. The 3 species that the council had tried to keep separate now shared friendship that would last for generations. "The best deals are sometimes the ones you don't make," Jack replied. The galaxy had learned a fundamental truth through humanity's example. Freedom was not a privilege granted by those in power. It was a right that belonged to every thinking being. And when that right was threatened, there were those who would stand and fight for it. Dr. Marcus Webb approached them, carrying news from Earth. The latest reports show 12 more species considering membership in the Accord. The old council worlds are asking for negotiations. Jack nodded. "What are our terms?" "The same as always," Marcus replied. "Equality, dignity, and the right to choose their own path." Looking out at the thriving community that had grown from humanity's refusal to kneel, Jack felt a deep satisfaction. They had chosen dignity over submission and found something far more valuable than council membership. They had found freedom, and in sharing it with others, they had saved the galaxy itself.